Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is Divestment with Purpose, and you have arrived. Greetings and salutations, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being here today. Please do me a favor and click the like button as you watch this video. Thank you kindly. In today's premiere, we're going to talk about a couple of comments that I got on this video right here. The individuals who posted these comments were basically saying, or rather, accusing divestors of bullying swirlers and other Black women. Now, I don't know anything about this. I didn't even know that this was a thing, but apparently it is. So, let's start with the first question here. This person says, then why are divestors attacking Black women? I see divestors attacking swirlers. Why is there a question mark, beloved? Are you asking me or telling me? And then she goes on to say, does that make any sense at all? You see, what this question or statement was lacking was context. You can't just ask baseless questions and expect me to give you an answer. Give me something to chew on, something I can contextualize. I can't tell you what's going on in people's heads any more than the next person can. I don't know what's going on in people's heads to even give you an answer to that specifically. I could give you a general answer if I were to nitpick whatever it is you're trying to say. We will get to that in just a moment. But first, let's go through my response to her. This is what I had to say. The divestment community is not responsible for personal spats. Please direct your question to those involved. Furthermore, what proof do you have that the people you speak of are actually divested? Do you have receipts? From what I've seen and experienced, there are a lot of Black people, some Black women included, who have a real issue with divestors. Everyone has the right to defend themselves. And here's the thing. I won't dismiss the fact that some swirlers have experienced something at the hands of divestors. But what's the full story? Divestors won't just, quote unquote, attack someone without context or some level of provocation. There's always something that leads up to that moment. Unless you have mental health issues, you're just not going to go out there and lash out at people for no reason at all. And like I said, everyone has the right to defend themselves. So unless you all have proof of these individuals being divested and provide receipts of any incidents speaking directly to your concerns, I can't help you. What you really should be doing, if you are so offended, is talking directly to people you have issues with and asking them why they appear to have issues with swirlers. Because last I checked, divestment, according to the internet, is the new swirling. According to the internet, any Black woman in an interracial relationship is a divestor. And that is why I had to correct that nonsense in this video right here. But anyway, someone else posted a second comment and said the following. At Divested Diamonds, divestors attack swirlers just because we still do things that are considered Black, like listen to certain genres of music and watch Black movies or being around Black family members and having Black friends or being a Democrat. Divestors call us, quote unquote, mammies. I only date interracially, but I'm not a divestor because it's too many rules. I feel like it's being treated like a religion. Okay, listen. Attacking anyone for no apparent reason shouldn't be the case under any circumstance. I think we can all agree on that. As far as who you support politically, personally, I couldn't care less. I believe in personal choice when it comes to a lot of things in life, because after everything's been said and done, it's your life, your choices, and your consequences. And if you make the wrong turn due to personal negligence or just bad decision making, you have to deal with that too. What you do in your personal life is and should be your business. With that said, if you are frequenting divestment channels, arguing back and forth with people in the comments section, don't be surprised when someone bites back. But that goes for any situation in life. Personally, I don't believe in converting anyone into something they don't want to be. And this is in reference to your comment about divestment being treated as a religion. Divestment has nothing to do with quote unquote conversion. Divestors are here to show other Black women an alternative lifestyle. Something different from these usual circumstances that keep repeating over and over and over again. Black women should want better for themselves on their own. All I do here is provide information that may be helpful to those who are in search of it. And sometimes people just don't realize they need something until they come across it. Now, I understand that you feel divestment is being treated like a religion and that you aren't divested because there are, quote unquote, too many rules. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, as is everyone else. Rules are necessary to avoid people falling back into old habits. In order to achieve anything in life that's worth something, you have to have some kind of discipline. Divestment requires it. For those who are truly divested or want better for themselves, the process of divestment doesn't feel like work. It feels like a journey to a better place. Now, let's get to the core of this conversation. Are divestors attacking swirlers? To be honest, I couldn't confirm nor deny that. What I have seen are swirlers going against each other. I'm not denying that some divestors have talked about swirlers in reference to something. As mentioned earlier, context. I can't speak on behalf of swirlers and their experiences with divestors because I am not a swirler. We do divestment over here. There's a lesson to be learned in every video I produce. What it really boils down to is this confusion people pretend to have in not wanting to bother exploring the differences between swirling and divestment. What a lot of you don't realize is most divestors are sick and tired of being compared to swirlers. And I'll tell you why. We've seen nothing but one tragic representation after another where swirlers are concerned. A lot of swirlers can't stop embarrassing themselves. The same reasons divestors asked for a separation almost a decade ago are the same reasons divestors don't want to have anything to do with swirlers today. We don't want to have to be categorized as being one and the same, because we're not. Swirlers and divestors are not the same. And yes, you do have a lot of divestors saying, please don't compare me to that. I'll give you an example. Crystalline kerosene. Now, I I don't bring her up to put her down. I bring her up because she's the face of swirling and the author of the book, Swirling. When Crystalline's marriage came to an end, she got into a relationship with a white Canadian guy who, by his own admission, had never dated outside of his race. This was his first interracial relationship with a black woman. Now, if you've been listening to my commentary for a while, you will probably know how I feel about being somebody's first as a black woman. This could either go really, really good or really, really bad. Other races of men may have interest in you for various reasons. It could be because they are curious to know what it feels like to be with a black woman sexually. Now, most black women aren't willing to disclose this to you, especially if you're new to interracial dating, for fear of deterring you from interracial dating. But I'll be honest with you, some races of men will fetishize you. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you understand that's a possibility. Just be aware of it. Another reason could be that they are genuinely interested in you as a human being and don't care too much about the racial aspect of it, which is really what you want. With that said, you should be comfortable enough in your relationship to talk about race without things feeling awkward. Why is this important? It's always good to know how your potential partner, potential boyfriend, potential husband may feel about issues regarding race. And they don't have to be heavy conversations in the beginning, but eventually you're going to have to talk about the bigger issues as well. Let me give you some examples. How does his family feel about you being a woman of a different race? Has he told his family and friends about you? Is he proud to be seen with you in public? Would he stand up to those who may have opposing views on race mixing? Look, we may be in 2025, but I'll tell you this, racism and bigotry still exist. Please don't be one of these weirdos who claim, I don't see color. That is silly. That is very silly. We all see color. The only thing I'll say about that is don't allow the color aspect to run your relationship. As long as you're comfortable with each other, that's all that matters. You see, vetting is very important for all men, regardless of race. So back to Crystalline Karazin. A few years ago, her boyfriend, whom she referred to as Mr. E, was in Clubhouse along with her and several of her subscribers. They were having discussions about various topics. At some point during their conversation, a random black guy joins the conversation and proceeds to call Mr. E an N-word lover because of his relationship with Crystalline. Now, rather than ignore or remove that inflammatory individual from the conversation, Mr. E decided to respond to him by saying, yes, he was indeed an N-word lover, except he didn't say N-word. He used the word in its entirety. His words, unfortunately, solidified the notion that Crystalline was an N-word. The sad thing is, he didn't think he had done anything wrong because it was all in defense of his girlfriend. See, the random black guy was clearly trolling, and Mr. E showed his inexperience at interracial dating by repeating the N-word in its entirety, something you must never do when dating a black woman, no matter the circumstance. Let's take a listen to the following.
Listening right now, for everybody who's listening right now, tell them what you think of me.
I think you're the most important person that I've ever met. And I've met Isaac Asimov and the Queen of England. Like, seriously, like, you are the most important person I've ever met. And I would do anything for you. And that's why I get so angry. Why I got so angry because someone called you the N word. Like, you don't call people that. You certainly do not call my girl that. Ever.
Okay, but I want to just play devil's advocate here. Okay.
What
Wait, no,
what
hush,
devil could have an
babe.
advocate against, like,
Okay,
not calling women the
babe,
the N word?
babe,
Seriously.
babe.
All right.
Put yourself on mute, please.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's the context of the situation. Okay. So you met that man in the gutter. So another black man called a black woman. I want everybody to be clear on this, that a black man called another black woman an N-word. And my man met him where he was in that space.
And I'll do that every time. I'm sorry.
Okay, if you do that every time, it's gonna be over, because you can't do that every time.
Okay,
because you
baby.
don't understand. Because you
As
can't do
as
that.
you say, I'll shut up.
Shut up, because there is nothing that you can ever come back from when you go there with that word, because of what you represent. Do you understand? And I'm saying this publicly.
I do.
No,
understand.
stay on mute. You need to listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So there is nothing that you can come back from that is going to make that okay, because of the emotions that are tied to that. And so when you meet these people where they are, they forget that they were even the first people that said it. They were the first people. They were the first ones who drew that.
I get
threw
that.
that stone. Who threw that stone? Who drew that blood? That they forget all of it because you look the way you look. And here's the thing, you guys. When you're in interracial relationships, you're gonna have to explain this stuff sometimes. It's frustrating. It is. And let me tell you something. I'm pissed at him right now. I just want you guys to know that. I am. And he knows I am.
I think everybody knows that.
And because the thing is, you created, while you were trying to protect me, you created a problem for me. And you're supposed to protect me, and protecting me is not creating more problems for me, Mr. E. And that's what you did.
I'm sorry.
And so when you double down on, well, I would do it again, then you don't really understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to go on mute, and I want the other women, and here, listen, Mr. E, I want you to stay on mute.
Shut the fuck up.
I want you to shut the fuck up. And I want you to listen.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
To what
I'll do that.
the other women have to say.
Let's hear it.
So you can understand, because you need to be educated in this moment right now, and you need to be quiet and listen. But if a black man gets a knee in his neck, we're all supposed to stop. But every 6 hours, a black woman is killed by someone 98% of the time by someone who looks like her. And listen, I am frustrated. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm being very candid right now. I am frustrated with the situation. I am frustrated with Mr. E, because I don't think he has a full grasp.
Sorry, what did he say?
The N-word, Nick.
So I want you guys to all grasp.
That's correct.
So So, all the words in the English dictionary, you are old enough to have known better. If someone called me the F word, I wouldn't respond back by calling them the F word. There's plenty of other words that I can use, plenty of other swear words, curse words that I can use. And the fact that someone disrespected you and your wife doesn't mean that you have the right to disrespect all Black people. Because when you use that word, you're not directing it just at him. You're calling you're insulting Black people all across the world.
Okay, Paris, I want to just ask you a question.
Okay.
When that Black man called me a nigger, was he insulting Black people all over the world? Is he insulting Black people all over the world? Is he insulting Black people all over the world?
First things first, Crystalline was right when she said, when you are in interracial relationships, you're going to have to explain this stuff. And this is why I said, you have to normalize discussions on race in your relationships. Find a way to make these conversations comfortable. Look, it's nice to live in a bubble where the two of you can exist on your own terms. That's wonderful. However, there are certain life situations that will need to be addressed publicly. And you both need to have an understanding of how to navigate those situations. Sometimes, ladies, you will have to teach and explain certain things to your partner, boyfriend, or husband about your culture and who you are as a Black woman. You may need to explain the do's and the don'ts, etc. Hopefully, he'd be patient and respectful enough to honor that. If not, that's not the man for you. And listen, it's okay to walk away from someone if you're not properly aligned or compatible. It's silly to stay in any relationship just to keep up appearances. Divestment may be a lot of work for some. We may have too many rules to abide by. But guess what? A truly divested woman will never date while broken. Because shortly after this incident, the girl who swirls was online talking about unaliving herself. And that's sad. And look, I'm not saying anything that isn't already public. And I don't say this to shame her. I would never do that to anyone, especially when it comes to matters of the mind. I take mental health issues very seriously. The reason I'm pointing it out is because it's always very important to take care of yourself and to make sure you are healed before getting into any kind of relationship. She blamed Black women for pushing her to the edge and stated that all she'd ever tried to do was help Black women, but they keep pushing her away every time. To that, I would say, find your tribe. All Black women aren't going to be on board with everything we do as content creators. Secondly, when you keep your private life off of the public sphere, people will have nothing to critique. Stop feeding the beast that is social media and then crying about it when things go wrong. I'm just saying. See, this is why I implore every Black woman who dates out to do their homework before engaging in romantic relationships. The embarrassment Crystalline must have felt forced her to address Mr. E on the spot. Unfortunately, it was too late for him to take it back. He couldn't undo the damage. She couldn't clean this up either because the milk had already been spilt. Had she taken the time to vet that man, none of this would have ever happened. It was embarrassing. It was soul crushing. And unfortunately, the burden of this situation fell heavily on Crystalline. She then had to justify why the Queen of Swirling would put herself in such an amateur position. And listen, I do understand that we can't control other people. We can't control what they say. We can't control what they do. But what we can do is control who we allow into our lives. Sadly, it's a poor reflection on you when those you've allowed access to your life act in unfavorable ways, irrespective of whether or not this man had been around Black people. He should have known better than to regurgitate that word. And to further say, if the situation had presented itself all over again, he would do the same, indicates a lack of understanding on the gravity and seriousness of this situation. It's not cute, nor is it endearing for a grown-ass man to be that obtuse on racial issues. Surely, racism exists in Canada, does it not? But I digress. So, in order to save face, Crystalline was forced to talk down to this man and treat him like a petulant child. She demanded he mute himself, shut the F up, and get educated. And all of this happened in the presence of internet strangers. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Dating out alone does not save Black women from their problems. Other races of men will not save you from your own unresolved issues. Working on yourself will. Once you do the work, you tend to have very little patience for low vibrational situations, low vibrational individuals, and low vibrational behavior. It reflects poorly on you when you allow others to highlight how little work you've done in bettering yourself. What happened to Crystalline highlighted a lot. It further reiterates the importance of privacy. Putting your private relationship in a public space is a sure way to attract unwanted attention. Now, it can also expose the fragility of unestablished relationships and the breakable foundations they are built on. A few months ago, she got into it with Rose from Queen of Kings over an interview that never happened. Basically, Crystalline had invited Rose for an interview after Rose's viral video of her staged breakup with husband Brett. Brett was exposed, or rather accused, of being a dusty who hadn't contributed much to their relationship. Anyway, Crystalline got mad that Rose didn't have the decency to politely decline the interview, but rather gave her the runaround and a flimsy excuse as to why the interview wouldn't take place. This enraged Crystalline, and she had a few choice words for Rose. Let's take a listen to the following. Fair use, YouTube. Fair use.
She agreed to do the interview, said she was going to do it 22 minutes before we were supposed to go live. She gives me some bullshit excuse. And so she leaves me with coming to the conclusion that you are selfish, you are narcissistic, you are jealous that Brett gets more attention than you, because of who he is, even though you think that you are the reason the channel blow up. It's not true, because if you didn't have that 6'5" white man helping you, your channel would not be where it was. You know it, and I know that, sis. Before Brett met you, you were trying to figure out how to do life at EBT cards. I also know what that's like too. So I'm not trying to down you. But let's be really real here. You're trying to make it seem like you did all this. You didn't. That white man is what pushed you on. And you literally jeopardized your bag to disrespect the man that allows for you to live the life that you are living. Because from what I understand, I don't see no college degrees. I don't see no work history. I don't see no career aspirations. I don't even see no hobbies, girl. All I see is YouTube. That's all you got. And the fact that you would disrespect your husband when he is your cash cow is crazy to me. And this is the girl who swirls saying that.
Mm, 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 mm. The sad thing about this situation, once again, was that Crystalline decided to involve her current boyfriend in this entire mess. Not a good look. As mentioned earlier, I didn't use Crystalline as an example to put her down. I wanted to show you the cracks and the lack of due diligence when it comes to a lot of these swirlers, their decision making and inability to protect themselves from undesirable men. I also wanted to show you how easy it is to focus on relationships while neglecting your inner self. Avoid using men and relationships in general as shields, as band-aids to distract you from doing your inner work. A man should be an extension of your existence, an addition to your already happy life, and not your only reason for existing. Opening up your dating options doesn't mean automatic trust based on racial hierarchy. There are dust buckets in all races of people. You still need to vet. You still need to set boundaries and aim to find compatibility, love, and respect. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, divest, divest, divest. This is the Diamond Chrysalis. You've been watching and listening to Divestment with Purpose. Thank you so much for watching. Divest like a butterfly, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.